well. It's a nice little Monday morning, very slow Monday morning as U.S. markets are taking a bit of a day off. A day off for the U.S. markets for the dead presidents of yesteryear. I don't know. Is it George Washington's birthday? Is that what the actual holiday? I honestly don't know, which seems very seems very un-American. Hold on, let me look this up right now. I don't want to make myself sound any more stupid than I already am. So let's see. What is President's Day all about? I'm asking chat right now. Let's figure it out. What is it exactly? Is it George Washington's birthday, or is it just credit to the presidents, I guess? Let's see. President's Day is a U.S. federal holiday honoring American presidents. Okay. Originally focused on George Washington and now commonly associated with both Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, what it started at, okay, so it did start as a holiday for George Washington's birthday. So it actually was. Okay, yes, I was right about that. But he was born February 22nd, which doesn't make sense because it's not February 22nd. Fair enough, man. Anyways, it looks like we've uncovered the Da Vinci Code in this case. Officially at the federal level, it is still Washington's birthday, but over time, states and retailers started calling it President's Day, expanding to a symbolically honor all U.S. presidents. Fair enough. We got to honor them all, baby. Honor them all, even the best, even the worst. Anyways, ring, ring, ring. Hello, Simps Invergence says Dorking Duck. Difficult name, man. What's up, Crypto Mainly? Hoy, hoy. Some beautiful steaks over there. Mark Toes got the pin message of the day as well. Having a little bit of a go at the XRPers of the world, saying that the XP on this channel is going to be worth more. Well, maybe over time, perhaps. But as of right now, XRP does still have a positive nominal value. So there is that, for all of the shit that we do give it. I mean, to be fair, compared to all the other shitcoins, at least it's not, been down only. It's been kind of sideways only, to be honest. But hey, better than down only 99% years upon years. So fair enough, man. Pulse chain is a scam. Stay away from it, says I should be more anonymous. Huh. What makes you say that? What gave it away? I'm curious. Look, I don't think the people who actually believe in Pulse Chain are around anymore, man. You're probably preaching a little bit to the choir. Those people who are drinking the Kool-Aid, I think I don't know what the hell they're doing now, man. I genuinely wonder sometimes, just because there was a lot of, when we were kind of calling out Pulse Chain and Hex on this channel, there was a lot of, animosity from that community. Not necessarily because I was like, it's bad, blah, blah, blah. It's just, no, the chart is objectively bad. Chart's objectively bad. I'm always going to say it's bad or good. Doesn't matter what fucking asset it's called. That one just happened to have a bad chart. But I'm curious to see where a lot of those people are. Like, are they still believers? I guess maybe, because probably a lot of them were fucking bots. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's up, Tabin? Good afternoon to you as well, sir. It is actually a nice little morning for us over here. This time is not acceptable. I request you back to the proper time zone. Are you talking about the European time zone? Yeah, man, I don't think we're going back there anytime soon, or at least not for a long time, man. XRP is shit, says Loma Chilla. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you can assume that most things in this market are shit, to be honest with you. I really think that there's just a very small amount of legitimate things when it comes to the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, obviously one of them, but, after that, I mean, almost nothing, honestly. Almost nothing, at least in my opinion. Anyways, what's up? Good morning to you as well, Mr. Bill Norblatt and Gerby. Pulse XRP guys don't watch this kind of channel, though you'd be surprised. A couple years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, they were certainly watching this channel. I don't necessarily know if they were actually going out of their way to watch this channel. What I think what was going on is one of them would watch this channel, and then they would let all of their fucking Hex pals know that Crown said something bearish about my shitty ass chart. Let's go get them. And then there would be like a fucking horde of Hex people, outside of my door screaming, fuck you, you stupid bitch, Crown. You're going to regret this, man. You're going to wish that you staked this for 15 years when it's in 15 years and it's up 100 million %. It's the best performing asset ever. Yes, it is. And it was. But what does it look like now? Oh, and look, like, I don't even need, it's still listed, so it's probably even worse than this at this point. Like, TradingView got so fed up with it, they're like, let's just delist this shit. That was back on December 25th. Wonder what happened there. Crazy idea. It's definitely because the whales, the fucking Shadow Council whales associated with Jeffrey Epstein were obviously trying to keep your Hex chain coins low because they don't want you to be successful. They're literally focused on you. Yes. It's a combination of schizophrenia and a bizarre narcissism. Narcissistic schizophrenia. That should be a real that should be a real diagnosis. Schizophrenic. It's not funny, but it is funny. Delusional schizophrenia. Yeah, schizophrenia. Wow, God, what was the word that I just used? That was like the perfect word. Oh man, I already lost it. Fuck. Attack of the Hexicans. Yeah, exactly, man. What's up, Great White Hype? And turns out you were just buying Richard Moore watches. Oh, what do you know? Yeah, the hype marketing, the craze marketing, whatever. Like, I get it. It is a strategy, but that's sort of a strategy only works on the most dumb of the dumb people. I mean, think about it. Like, who the fuck is being seduced by some guy, walking out of a designer clothes store with a bunch of designer clothes? Only the lowest of the low are enthusiastic about that. Why? Because they don't realize that doesn't mean anything. And generally speaking, when it comes to designer clothes, what I found out the hard way is that most of the people who wear like the designer clothes, who are all decked out in the fucking brands and whatnot, like especially the ones that are like visible on the shirts and shit like that, they're usually the people who like can't barely afford it. They're probably buying it on credit to begin with, or taking out loans or whatever. Like, they want to appear rich, but they're not actually rich, which is just a fucking weird thing. It's super fucking weird. Why? Why? But then again, I mean, maybe that's just the power of marketing, of which I could probably be better at that myself. But I have a good marketing scheme right now, because we are actually having a sale. We're having a sale for President's Day. It's going to be a flash sale, just 24 hours, shortest sale ever. But the code is PREZ, P-R-E. Actually, let me just write it out. It's probably too confusing. PREZ 20, just all one word. PREZ or PRES. Oh my God. I can't spell it because I'm actually redacted too. Maybe I should buy fucking Exchange. Prez 20, all capitals. Teachable link in the description below. Applies to everything. Blah, 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 blah. You already know the deal. It'll run for 1 day, however. And again, 20% off. Literally no exceptions or anything like that. There is a code in the description below for Teachable. There you go. Okay, beautiful. Yes, we're being a little bit hexaphobic right now, as Nova Sparks has said. I apologize to all the Hexicans of this world. I hope that you are still doing well. I genuinely do. Yes, narcissistic schizophrenia. That is... I think one of my personas. What's up, Stylistical? Been a long time, man. I guess it hasn't been that long. Did see you last week. What's up, Burgle Cut? Good morning, ass goblins. Good morning, ass goblins. How good to see you. Yes, my ass goblins. My Aspergers and my ass goblins are having a war with each other in my fucking stomach. It's not good. Anyways, Bitcoin actually did fail the momentum pivot from last week. So I am pretty biased towards another sweep of the lows here, maybe slightly lower. Does Bitcoin officially test the 200 simple on the weekly here? It's looking more and more likely, to be honest with you. I do think that there is pressure down on Bitcoin this week. My opinion, where I think I deviate from a lot of people, is that I don't think Bitcoin's going to be closing significantly on new lows, like below $60,000 anytime soon. I still think Bitcoin, probably puts in a base here and at least tries to go sideways for a couple months. Personally speaking, I do think that it could be a major, maybe even a macro low. But in the short term, over the next week or two, I do expect another retest of those lows. This is very weak price action on the short term right here. Daily time frame continues to put in lower highs. I think it's really that simple in this case. Looking at the price action pivots indicator, it is showing yesterday's high as a nice pivot, meaning that as long as you're below there, it's bear, it's still just downtrend, still just bearish overall. And on top of that, when we go over here to our Rev and Ribbons, we can see my Ribbits, also by the way on sale, which is still showing, the midband actually basically at yesterday's high, or yesterday's opened, and today's high has effectively rejected it. So, this is a bearish setup right here, and the lower end of this blue box is kind of the general targeted region that's a little bit below $60,000 at 59,500. I still think it could be something like this, where we see a quick wick down, then, bounce quite quickly from there and trade sideways for like a month or two. If I see something like that, I'm going to be a lot more confident about a potential major and macro low in this region. But for right now, there is pressure to the downside. We did not get the closure that we wanted to see last Friday for the weekly. It is what it is, at this point. I'm also looking at the weekly for the Rev and Ribbons, Oh my God, I said it right. Holy shit. I thought I said it wrong, but I said it right, which is extra confusing. But looking at it right here, you can see the weekly move is actually still trending. So when the God, we need to rename the shit, Revan. It's too difficult now. It's breaking my brain, man. It's a great indicator. It's a great setup. I absolutely love it. But goddamn, man, it breaks my fucking brain every time. It's still being walked down right here. The weekly is still giving a downside trend bias, as is the daily. And the weekly is actually in a more precarious position, in fact, because it is still being run down by these sort of dotted green, these green dots, which is effectively like your sort of walking down target. And you can see today, that would be around, or sorry, this week would be around 66, 250. And then of course, for like a wick low, we could easily see a move down to this area right here at 59,900. So that does match up with the daily bottom end of the short-term pattern target right here as well. So these two things having confluence. I do think Bitcoin is going to try some amount of downside to the low $60,000 territory. Does it go a little bit below 60? Does it stop a little bit above 60? I don't fucking know, but somewhere around there, give or take, $1,000 or $2,000. And then I think that Bitcoin will get another bounce attempt. It has been beat up a lot here when we do look at our fear and momentum setup. But again, I want to acknowledge that the weekly setup that I was really counting on for Bitcoin to initiate a bigger bounce from this region, or at least stabilize steady without going significantly lower, was not met. We did not see the weekly stochastic oscillator flip back onto the upside. Bitcoin failed that pivot, which was a pretty easy pivot, as it was only $69,000. And what's worse about this particular setup, and what really makes me a lot more confident of Bitcoin retesting these lows, is that when we see Bitcoin fail a relatively easy pivot like that, because it was very close to it coming into the end of last week, and then on the next opening week, you see that pivot go up. In this case, it went up about $3,000 to 72,100 and change. That is usually going to get you another move to the downside. My opinion is that it won't lead to like significantly new lows. I might be wrong on that. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm going to be disastrously wrong. It's going to be very, very bad. But for right now, I do think that will at least retest the lows. And this is showing downside pressure, basically as long as you're below last week's high, I believe it is. Let me just double check. Even a little bit lower than last week's high, in fact. So that is weakness by the definition of it. And yeah, in the short term, I do expect Bitcoin to test some downside here. We got some hidden bearish divergence on the 12-hour caretaker's RSI. I think CME's got the same thing going on right here too. It's going to have a fresh drive. Probably intraday here if Bitcoin basically stays here or lower in the next 5 hours and 32 minutes. So those things are pointed down for a short-term downside test at least. And I'm sure a lot of the pattern bros are probably going to be looking at this as something resembling like a descending triangle. I'm not necessarily certain I see it myself, but if we are going to play at a pattern target, that will be to the upper 50s, like $58,000 or $59,000. So, that does correlate, I suppose, well as well. And if we go over here to the to caretakers HPDR, this one also showing that Bitcoin is in some pretty crazy regions, no doubt about that. But does Bitcoin, test the 88.2 level? I mean, again, that's 60,800. So I would basically say this week, or between this week and next week, I expect Bitcoin to test somewhere between like $58,000 and $61,000. And I do think personally, Bitcoin will bounce there again. When Bitcoin gets into these crazy levels here from the HPDR, it's just, it's not very often that it trades well below regions like this with at least going sideways for some time. But Bitcoin's very likely range bound here. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, I don't think that you have any significant upside in the near future. I think best case scenario on any sort of a rally, which I'm not looking for a rally right now, but maybe if it happens in a few weeks, I don't think that you do much better than like $75,000. I think that at best it's going to be range bound for a while, between 75 and about, let's just call it 60 on the downside. And from there, what happens, hopefully it's a bunch of sideways, because that's the only way that I see Bitcoin putting in, a major, perhaps even a macro low here. Until then, Bitcoin's coming off of some major regions, no doubt about that. So I am very hesitant to say that Bitcoin's going to make significantly new lows here. I just don't think that that's in the cards in the short term. If that is going to happen, I think that that's like at least a Q2 thing, maybe even like end of Q2 to beginning of Q3. So, many months away. And we're seeing the monthly bounce off the 76 level right here. If we go to our major moving averages, the monthly is bouncing off the 55 EMA. These areas, even if it does break over time, they typically do produce, the impetus for a prolonged sideways period, kind of like what we saw over here in 2022 bear market lows. You can see Bitcoin spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even tested on an 8th month right here for those lows on the green 55 EMA. So, if Bitcoin is going to put in a major low here, I really would expect it to take many months, kind of operating between those two numbers. There's not really much to update on traditional markets today, unfortunately, just because, they ain't open, and well, we didn't really see anything crazy happen on on Friday's closure. Gold is obviously open for trading. Gold, to me, really does look like it's putting in that lower sort of trappy high right here. Personally, I would have liked to have seen it get higher on a potential bull trap. It does really bother me that we did not see about $5,200. But hey, at the end of the day, you know, price action is what price action is. And in this case, I do think gold is getting ready for a move to retest last week's low at 48 or 48, you know, 50, 48, 80-ish region. Probably another small bounce temp there. And then I do think gold does the full markdown down to like the 43, 4,400, you know, retesting these regions that we saw on that initial dump off in early February. So, you know, gold, I'm still sticking with my general top call here. Do I think it's a macro top call? My personal opinion is yes, but it is not confirmed from a technical analysis perspective until we see a closure below the February low of 44.02. If and when that does happen, then yeah, you know, I think gold's in for a prolonged sideways and downside market down to like at least the mid threes, something like that. How long does that take? I don't fucking know. Could be fast, could be slow. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. Or I mean, it does matter, but I just don't have a good idea on it. But I would be looking for that as a legitimized target. Of course, there'd be bounces along the way. Duh. I mean, naturally that's going to happen, but I'm still looking at this as a major high here. So yeah, in the short term, what would confirm it, you know, the next sort of short term breakdown, I suppose, closing below Friday's low. But again, it's not like super important right now. Really, the weekly pivot is the important one. And again, that's going to be 44.02 right here. Other than that, not much to update on gold. Obviously, silver is significantly weaker than gold at the moment, which I do think is also a sort of compounding signal that we are seeing the metals generally top here, meaning that, you know, you can kind of expect this similar sort of behavior as like a Bitcoin cycle. Different asset class, obviously, but the same sort of rotational ideas still hold true. So what do I mean by that? Well, you can look at gold as Bitcoin, and then silver, you know, you could look at it as like traditionally, I guess, Ethereum in a way, in which at the end of the cycle, Bitcoin rallies, and then at some point, the shit coins start to diverge, and they don't follow Bitcoin on the rallies. And then once Bitcoin comes down and they haven't followed on a rally, then they really get their markdown, and silver is a lot closer to this than gold. If silver comes back down below, again, that February low of $64, which it ain't so far away from right now, it's at 76.5. That would confirm this one as a macro high in my eyes as well. And I think the monthly looks a lot more like it too. Again, if that were to happen, I think that silver is going to be on a general trajectory down to about $40 or so. How long does this time, you know, take? I don't know, but generally I'd be looking for moves down around there. For right now, though, silver is kind of a little more of an obvious top than gold, in my opinion. I could definitely see a universe in where gold maybe doesn't top out, but silver, it's like, this is, I mean, for fuck's sake, man. For fuck's sake. This is the most volume you've ever seen ever on silver, by the way. That is undoubtedly an outlier. Holy shit. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I personally have to call that a macro high. Yes, technically I should wait for confirmation below that February low. Maybe I end up eating my words, but damn, you know, barring any sort of a heroic rally back above $100, that's it in my opinion, man. Finally made a live stream again, says James Hick. Good morning to you, sir. Glad to have you. I'm guessing it's because it's President's Day, so there ain't much to do. Or you probably don't have, you know, anything else to do, which is all good, man. Kenny Ski says, hold on. Crown, I can integrate your indicators into Discord. I can open a ticket. Do we want to do that? Probably not. I don't know, man. I feel like that would just be ripe for people, you know, abusing them. I mean, we already have issues with abuse of the free trials. I feel like putting it on Discord might make it even worse, man. To be honest with you, I'm not sure that that's the best idea. I'm open to ideas, of course, but at the outset, it doesn't sound like it will be wise in our case. Frog indicator is memorable. Yeah, we could call it the frog, the or the RR. Yeah, RR, the rabbits rabies. Okay. Yeah, we're in the US, man. Hexkins, the wall just got 10 feet higher. God, some of these comments are so fucking good, man. Been putting a lot of salt in my water recently. Let's see what the super chats are saying right now. Let me see what else has got lined up already. Un momento. Okay. There we go. Yes. Or actually, I can just scroll up here. There ain't so much. I think Lutfi Muradova is first. She's looking at Aster. She says that she's short from about 3/4. Yeah, I feel like no one's really. People were asking about this for like the first couple of weeks it was alive, and then after that, never again. So I have no concept in my mind of what this chart's going to look like. Surprise, surprise! It's down only. You shorted. Yeah, I generally like your position here. Not because it's guaranteed to work out. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed to work out, but you got trend on your side. I'm guessing you probably have some hidden bearish divergence potential here. You certainly do, because this high on the R side is significantly higher than what you even saw back all the way over here in January 5th, when this thing was trading at, 83, 84 cents. And this is still a lower high right here. Where would I manage my risk on this one? Because that's really the question that you should be asking yourself in order to figure out, if this trade is going to work out for you. I do think that it will work out for you, to be honest. But of course, there's no guarantees. Where would be the most obvious place to manage risk? It would have to be this high right here at 81.5 or 82 cents, about 82 cents, let's say. If you're okay with that risk, personally, I don't think it's a bad trade. I think you're on the right side of this thing. Yeah, that's really all that I got to say about that. Yeah. I generally think you're going to go sideways and down from here and probably, probably carry out the long-term trend. If there ever was a place for another lower high, this would be a damn good place for it, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at right there. Like I said, your risk is about 82 cents. If that's okay with you, hey, do what you will. I'm not your dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but, yeah, I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably take the same thing as well. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we have. We have Great White Hype. He's looking at ZRO. Okay, some crypto. It's crypto day because we ain't got no traditional markets trading right now. I don't know. I guess Coinbase. God, I don't think I've even looked at this thing ever. ZRO. It doesn't sound familiar. This one, basically the same chart as Aster as we just looked at. And I'd be saying the same thing. You're getting a rejection at the green 55 EMA right here. It's on a lower high. You do have hidden bearish divergence between the highs from September of last year and the highs that are presumably being put in here at about 190. I think that you're going down, man. I think it's going down. It's Kathy Wood's new shitcoin. Hopefully that's a joke, but if it's not, then fucking Godspeed, Kathy Woods. Holy shit. Or Kathy, is there a name Kathy Woods? No. Is her name? Oh my God, my brain's breaking. It's Kathy something rather, but I feel like Woods is not the right last name. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off right now. Ahmad says STX Daily. Okay, this is a really old one. Or are you talking about the crypto, or are you talking about Seagate? Because these are going to be two wildly different charts, I imagine. Seagate, obviously a massively successful company. I don't know, you might have a correction back down to like 360, but overall still okay. Still Jesus, that is an intense rally. Building up some bearish evidence here, so I'd be expecting to pull back somewhat soon. Should still be okay long term, but I don't know, you're probably talking about this thing, which I fear for you at the moment. This thing's, it's got delisted. Surprise, surprise. It got delisted. Amazing. 26 cents. Down only charts, typically going to go down only, man. Not even getting a pity. Well, I guess you got a little bit of a pity bounce from the December 22 lows, but I think that this thing's heading all the way down to your April 2020 lows, your all-time lows. And yeah, you're going to get bounces around there too, just from the, very unvirtuous fact of getting down to your all-time low. But, after that, probably just more and more downs. I mean, these are just garbage charts, man. Just terrible. Just awful. God awful, man. God awful. Yeah, down. It wants down. It wants to go down. It wants to go down and down and down some more. And down some more as well. Yeah, Kathy Wood. There we go. Menace in game. Hey, Ground, can you take a look at dollar versus DOP? Yeah, I actually don't even know what Dominican peso. It's my first time looking at this pair. It's definitely going down though. Holy shit. Dollar not looking too hot right here. I don't know. Probably comes back down to this base at like 60.5 bucks. Something like that. Long term, obviously it's a mega massive macro uptrend, but I do think that you got some short term downside here. You got bearish divergence of the 1, 2, 3 drives variety. So at least 60.5 bucks, probably bounce temp there. If that bounce fails and this thing really gets a mark down, I guess 59.25 or 59.5, but I don't know, probably not good to fade this thing long term. So, I'll be looking at those two areas, 60.5 and then 59.5. Should see reversals around those regions, in my opinion. Unless this thing is like truly having a major, massive macro, like forever breakdown, which guess anything's possible, right? But I probably wouldn't be betting on that as of the moment. Just my opinion. Anyways, Arden is looking at Sol. Let's get to some of the regular chats right now. Solanas. Anytime I hear SOL now, I think of the gun manufacturer Sons of Liberty, because I just bought one of their rifles, which is a fucking amazing rifle, by the way. Fucking amazing. God, I'm so obsessed with this shit right now. I have 3 incomplete uppers right now, just sitting in my in my closet. They're hanging out in my closet. I have many more coming. Very excited about it. Holy shit, I need to start a fucking guns and crypto channel or something like that, or guns and trading, or guns and investing. Anyways, so just terrible, man. Just bad, just fucking bad. On any sort of a balance, I think best case scenario you get to the upside is like $95-$96. But that's, I don't think that you're bouncing much higher than that, if at all. That's even if you get a bounce. Overall, this thing wants to come down, and it wants to come down hard. The only way I'd change my opinion, though, and this is actually very possible and would be a pretty impressive feat and actually make me think, wow, this thing actually has a pretty interesting bear trap potential going on here, is if the monthly closed back above about $95. I don't think that that's going to happen, but hey, if that did happen, I would change my opinion. Until then, I think that you're in the midst of a great plunge. The great plunge is upon us here, as this thing gets ready for, I don't know. I think at some point you come back down to like $50. This is objectively not good. You got a lower high right here. You got a lower low, so you do have a macro reversal on your hands, even on the monthly too, lower high and lower low. So unless if that monthly closed back above $95, I look at this as a major breakdown. With big implications. Living below $100 for a long time if that happens. So again, it's a long month left to go. You got a little under 2 weeks, but anyways, we got Tabin. He says CDP on the weekly and monthly. Okay, don't know this one. Copt Defense Properties. I don't know. Is this a defense technology? Because I like that typically, but I haven't heard of this thing. Overall, this is good in that this has been in a very constructive consolidation for like 15 years. I think it's just in comparison to other things that have been moving, it's obviously not like a good pick because, it's just not had the same sort of amazing gains that most things have had over the past, like 15 years. I mean, this thing, most of the good things have like 10x in the past 15 years. So this ain't among them. But do I think that this thing is going to move to the upside from here? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to go back to the top side of the range at $36 and break out? Yeah, I do. Do I think that it's probably going to, retest around this high if we fast forward a couple of years from now? Yeah, I do. But, just in terms of other, equities, I think that there's just faster and stronger horses in this race. That's just my personal opinion. But anyways, or it's not my personal opinion. That is quite literally a fact on this thing. Anyways, you're saying there are rumors about W3 third expansion in May. Wait, what? Oh, are you talking about CD Projekt Red? Oh, you're probably talking about that because you're from Poland. Duh, I should have picked that one up. I don't think that that's the ticker for this thing. Let me see if I type it in. No, I think you got to give me a different ticker unless if that was, okay. Yeah. CD Projekt. Hold on, like this. Yes, there we go. Okay. Sorry, man. I should have picked that up. I should have realized you're Polish. You probably mean this stock because this is a Polish company, which makes some of the best games of all time. W3 third expansion, like The Witcher 3 third expansion. What? They can't make expansions. That game is like fucking 20 years old now. I actually think that this is going to be kind of the top of your rally for now. I think that this thing comes back down into the range. I think long term it will be good, but I guess the LARP lines here worked out pretty well too. I don't remember looking at this thing in a long time. Yeah, this was drawn out in 2023. Holy shit. So just like, it got back up to the tops of the range, I do think that you will reject the first pass of this range and come back down and then maybe rally later after you get to like, I don't know, 150, 160 region. But yeah, I don't think that this rally is continuing from here. This one wants to break back down. According to the monthly RSI, I don't think that this thing's ready right now. Long term, it could be good, like I said, but I expect it to come down and try for like a higher low. And then, I don't know, maybe if we fast forward another like few years from now, then maybe it tries a real rally past this year's high. But yeah, I think you're going to be waiting a long time on that. And I think next move is basically to the downside. But yeah, great buy hype is looking at NVIDIA. NVDA, yes, and whoops. The redactedness continues. I cannot type properly today. NVIDIA here, still hanging it high in this, in what is a very high level consolidation. But I do think you have another move to the downside in the interim. I don't like last week's closure. I do think that this thing will retest around the range lows, maybe like 165, 168 region. So I do think your next move is to the downside. I want to see the response if and when it does get down around there. If things really do try for like a breakdown here, 150 is where I'd be looking for. Just, retest that 21 EMA for a higher low. It's kind of the area that I'd be looking for. What's up, Yarbrook? He says, don't forget trading. Oh man, I have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of rounds, and I do my dry humping every day, or almost every day. And then I do go to the range once a week and fire off, about 300 rounds or something like that. All the guns will be worthless without training. Indeed. I totally get you, man. I totally get you. Manus dry fire systems are great for running drills at home, but there are a ton of training resource. Great, man. Yeah. I've definitely been investing a lot into that as well, but I haven't gotten to the Mantis things. Can you use a Mantis on on like an AR platform? That'd be my question to you, man. Burgle Cuts is looking at KLAC. Okay. What is this? I don't know. KLAC, KLA Corporation. Well, not terrible here. Kind of have to be bullish as long as you're above last week's low, right? What time frame were you looking at? Oh, long-term hold. Yeah, it seems like you're getting into the long-term investing game too. Well, when I look at the quarterly, I do think you kind of have to be a bit defensive here for this maybe being a macro high. So if you are long-term, this would be a scenario where I'd consider trading around my position, because if this is a macro high, then we can probably expect, a year or two of like sideways and down, and maybe the next base is somewhere around $1,000. So you might be eating up like a 30% dump-ola here. If we go down to a weekly, where would I confirm a major reversal? It would be below last week's low, 1280. If you can close a weekly below there, I would certainly confirm that. Until then, I think it's a possibility, and personally a strong probability. You're seeing extremes on monthly BBWP. You're seeing, well, I guess there's not necessarily bearish divergence here on the monthly, but there certainly is building on the quarterly. It's kind of where you'd be expecting it to get rejected if it is going to play out. So difficult. And when I look at the 3-week time frame, this one's going to open up freshly on Tuesday, so tomorrow. Yeah, I'd be looking at last week's low, I think it was. Yeah, last week's low. Or sorry, 2 weeks ago lows. Just the February lows, okay? I'm sorry that I'm fucking redact. I can't say things properly, but February lows, 1287, or 1285 and 4 cents. If you do trade below there, then yeah, I think that this is a macro high for a while. And I don't know, I would consider trading around that. I'd be looking for a move like this down to like 900 or $1,000 and maybe a higher low and try a rally again. Long term, I like it. I mean, it's a great chart long term, but it can play out some big corrections, obviously. I mean, this thing's been fucking straight up since April of last year, from $500 all the way to $1,500 plus. I mean, for fuck's sake, man, more than a 3x. Amazing, fucking amazing. So yeah, they have one for the AR. Fuck yeah, man, I'll look into that. Yeah, I'll certainly look into that. Tony Begg says, remember, guns are lethal weapons. Indeed. That's why you learn how to use them. You train with them so that you don't have to be afraid of them. I don't understand why Americans are nuts about playing with lethal weapons. Oh man, grab hold of your balls and try to hold on to an AR-15 at the same time. Your nutsack and your penis will grow by at least 5 inches minimum. I can assure you of this fact. I think for Americans, because of the way that our country was founded, was basically people came here to be free, to get away from basically very strong and stringent governments. And so Americans in general are very sensitive to any sort of, I guess, authoritarian government in which we believe that it is important to be, in general, Americans believe, not everyone, by the way, because there's probably about half the country that would disagree with this statement, but the other half would probably agree. But in general, Americans believe that it's important to become proficient with and own rifles or just some sort of a defensive weapon. Because at the end of the day, man, there's one quote that always sticks out. People with guns don't get into fucking cattle cars. You know, I think that that's just a great example. Like, you wonder what happened in Germany, you know, in the 1930s, 1940s. What was the first thing they did? They disarmed their citizens. And what did the communists do? The first thing that they took over, they disarmed their citizens. Why? Well, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. So that's, in my opinion, the reason why many Americans, you know, really focus on that as like a focal part of our, you know, of our culture. It's almost like we're defending it. We want the government to fear the people, not the people to fear the government, in other words. And I feel like in Europe, people are so used to the previous way of doing things with like kind of feudal lords and whatnot, because most European countries didn't have to fight for their freedom. They just kind of adopted a democracy. They never really had to fight for it. So they didn't understand, or they didn't really have to go through that very, you know, scary and difficult part where, you know, you're putting potentially your life on the line, but at the same time, you know, you are fighting for something that at least we here in America believe is important, which is personal freedom. Now, obviously, we don't have like total freedom. Duh, you can tear apart these statements, but as an idea, you know, that's generally true. It's not perfect, but hey, I'll take this system over many others. So yeah. Cars, Cryptos, and Conspiracies says it best. Better to have one and not need it than to need one and not have it. As always, you want to be a warrior in a garden, not a gardener in a war. As always, sir, as always. Yeah, man. We the people, yeah. It's actually really interesting. If you read the Constitution of the United States, it is very clear what the Second Amendment is all about. It doesn't just say that the people have the right to bear arms. It's saying they almost have a responsibility to bear arms and form militias in order to counteract, you know, a disastrous government. That was kind of like the fail-safe that I think the founding fathers wanted to input into the American culture or the American Constitution against, you know, a would-be, you know, autocratic dictator taking over or trying to do something like that. So, again, you can tear apart a lot of these statements. I assure you many people would disagree with me. Even Americans, certainly there is a great subset of people that disagree with me. But after what I've learned and after I've studied, that's also what I've come to the conclusion as well. Feel free to disagree, though. Bill Norblatt says that I'm a much better analyst and trader. Any advice on bridging the gap? Yeah, so I'm actually creating a TA 101 playlist right now. It's literally going to be done, I think, before the end of this next weekend. It is 100% focused on exactly that. It's bridging the gap between here's analysis and then here is what creating a system looks like and how you can actually do that and how you can integrate your analysis into a workable system that you can test and then employ. It'll be completely free, by the way, like 100% free. You don't need to do nothing. There'll even be like quizzes and whatnot on top of it as well. I'm literally trying to embarrass anyone else who's putting out paid content for this sort of stuff, because I believe that most of these people, especially after what I've seen, don't know what the fuck they're doing or what the fuck they're talking about. And I want my free shit to absolutely fucking obliterate their own shit, or at least that's what I tell myself, because like I said, I just need shit to do right now. And that feels like something that I can do well and also meaningful in some way. Anyways, wait till you get it into FRT club. Yeah, man. I know the guy at the gun store the other day was, I was shopping for lowers and he was like, you know, you could put an FRT in this. I'm like, oh, interesting thought, sir. Tell me more. Mr. Pow Pow says it's Bear Moon this week. Let's check it out. That would also kind of correlate, I suppose, with a short-term sort of bearish bias. Yeah, you are. I mean, last bull moon didn't work out too well, put it that way. So this one's already been, this is day number 15. So yeah, you will get a bear moon tomorrow. You'll get a bear moon tomorrow. Like I said, I do think Bitcoin's poised to retest these lows, maybe slightly lower. So yeah. Tex, Hex, and friends. Oh boy. The Hexkins are still here. They are still here. Yeah, man, I definitely do appreciate that. But yeah, I've taken my time with this one. It should be ready, I would say, before Sunday. So I'll upload the first video on YouTube and I'll kind of have like a slow drip on YouTube. And then I will also have the exact same content, but fully laid out on Teachable. Again, it'll be free, but even though it's on Teachable, it will be 100% free, but it will be posted all there in one go. So that's kind of why I've been taking my time, because I'm not just recording one video and then releasing it. No, I'm recording everything first and then dripping it out, except for that Teachable. But yeah. What else we got here? Any more tickers to look at? Yeah, we the people. I love it, man. NVO on the daily and weekly. So this is the progenitors of the fat loss drug. I still think the same thing over here. As far as the long term, I think that you're going to try some sideways and for a bounce at some point. I think that this just takes a long time. This is a quarterly time frame after all. There might be one more wick lower first, like slightly lower to 37.5. But again, I don't think that that's a humongous deviation. I think that this thing's been beat up enough from the highs to the lows, and I think it's ready for a long sideways and then another rally, because long term, this one actually does make a lot of sense. The only thing I'd be defensive against is maybe a quick move to like $37 followed by a bounce. But I think that this thing is really putting in a major low right here. I think this is actually quite good. I might even consider a position long-term myself. It's come down 71.5%. I mean, that is a lot for a stock, especially. Anyways, William Kiefer says, how did, Ola, sorry, I thought you said, how did you? Ola, did you do XRP on daily, weekly, and monthly yet? No, we haven't. XRP, I still think is bouncing from here, but just like Bitcoin, it is very likely to retest around these lows at like 115, 120, whatever it is. I just don't think it's going to necessarily break down significantly from there in the short term. So if I had to draw it out, the old LARP line, something like this, maybe another maybe like a quick wick down and then hopefully a bounce. That's the kind of same signal that I want to look for on Bitcoin in order to potentially get something more resembling like a real low here. But for right now, do I think that XRP is just going to shoot through the lows and, start working its way down to like 70, 80 cents? No, not without at least a long sideways stint over here. I think it's going to take a long time. As far as like the next month, I think best case scenario to the upside is 180. And I think worst case scenario to the downside is basically, February lows. So I really think that we're strapping in for like a boring portion here when it comes to cryptos, especially. And obviously the weaker ones, they'll just continue to go down. But the stronger ones, they should be able to hold it at least sideways in some, in this range. LRCX has the same thing, long-term hold. Let's check it out, man. LRC, this one sounds familiar. What is this? Lamb Research. All right, maybe not. This one a little bit, I think that this one is a little bit more likely to continue than the last one you looked at. You are taking out these last few highs, so at least there's no bearish divergence there for right now. So I think this one might have like another high or two to go. I don't think it's topping out just yet. I think that this one is more likely to make new highs than the last one that we looked at that you requested. The only way I change my mind is if you come back down below last week's low at 204.5 below there, I would call a major high here. But for right now, this thing is still in a strong position to maybe continue to new highs throughout most of February, maybe even into March as well. But I would be very cognizant that in terms of timing, I certainly don't think it has more than like the end of Q2 to go. So I guess that would be what, like 5 months or 4.5 months from now. I would say that's kind of like a maximum time for you. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I think it will top before Q3 starts. But in the short term, I guess I'm still bullish here. I don't really have a reason not to be. Weekly RSI is still kind of constructive in this region as well. So I think that you're entering into like the last push of this parabolic move. Probably gets like 280, maybe even $300. But if I'm wrong, you'll know because it comes back down below last week's low. That would be my reversal point. Until then, it's just follow the yellow brick trend, man. It's still nice and up and to the right, and we like this. Happy Chinese New Year. I think it's the year of the horse, or actually, honestly, I have no fucking idea. Is it the year of the snake or the year of the horse? Because I don't know. Are any of these good? Are these good for my bags? That's a real question. That's what we want to know. Sideways and down we go. Down below, says Mr. Pow Pow. Wood with no S at the end. Yeah, that sounds right. Kathy Wood, not Kathy Woods. Kathy Woods. Peter Ola says, hope you're well, Crown. Hope you're well as well, man. If you had the chance, would you take a look at Super? I can. Elliot's going to hate me for this, but I've been bearish for on a while. Again, look, I'll always give you my unfiltered opinion on these things, regardless of whether it's my friend's coin or not. Yeah, I'm still bearish on this, man. This is, in my opinion, terrible. I think it would be a gift from God to see this thing back at around 35 cents. If it did, I think that would be, at least in my opinion, a very obvious sell. And I would be surprised if even retested around there anytime soon anyways. This thing is a lot more likely to come back down to single digit cents than it is to reverse from here. This is very bad. This is very bad. We got extremely bearish on this chart, in recent times back around here. That was when that quick rejection happened in September. That was a really big tell that this thing was going to eventually break down. That was around 60 cents or so. And shit before that, on the macro, like it was over here where we started to get like, okay, this is not great, but getting marked down to marked down. So, when you start to break regions like that, okay, you're probably going to retest lows, and yeah, you're probably going to bounce around what, like, I don't know, 7-8 cents, whatever these numbers are right here. But bouncing around those regions, is usually a pity bounce, meaning that I don't expect it to be a reversal for any prolonged period of time. I expect it to make significantly new lows. This thing has been in a monthly downtrend basically for forever. It's not great. But it's interesting to me because I know Elliot, and I actually know that he's put his fucking heart and soul into these projects. So it's interesting for me because even when a project is doing legitimate things and having legitimate partnerships and all these sort of things, still your fucking chart will look like this. So if that goes to show you how difficult it is to have a successful coin, hopefully that sinks in, because shit, man, like there's a lot of projects out there that are trying to be legit, but it's just too fucking hard to be a legitimate business or to be a successful business. And I don't know, man, as far as coins go, I don't like what the hell this one's doing, man. Put it that way. TAN Solar ETF. Okay, is the ticker TAN? I'm guessing it's this. I do think this thing will pull back a bit from here. You're kind of at like the top side of your range. This is where this thing broke down from before as well, from 2022. So pulling back from this range, I think is kind of expected, but I do think there's a chance for a higher low and a pullback, and then it could be good later. Because this thing objectively does have some good signs going on here that do suggest it wants to confirm this as the next higher low in the quarterly and then work its way back towards, maybe 90 to $100. I think that's definitely possible here. But on this current move, do I think it's going to pull back first and then try it? Probably yes. I don't think it's just going to like push to the upside from exactly here. So yeah. Your book says a weak man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. Yeah. Yeah. Very philosophical, but I agree. I agree indeed. Once upon a time, this is probably because Alex Becker scammed so many people and their best buds. That's what turned me off from him. Fair enough. I'm just reading the comments here. I don't know Alex Becker. I've had like a couple of tweets between him and myself, but other than that, I don't know him personally. I don't know really much about him. I don't really follow him, so I don't really know what you're referring to in the sense that like he scammed people. In my opinion, scam is kind of like it's a little bit too loosely used in general. Like when I think of scam, I think of someone like deliberately misleading other people. That's what I mean. Or that's what I think of when someone says scam. So I don't know. Did he do that? Did he not do that? I don't fucking know. Like I said, I don't follow him. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Who knows? I don't know at least. So if you can show me some, then I guess I'll change my opinion. But then again, why should I even fucking care? Like I don't do business with him anyways. So who gives a shit? Should I remember shorting INJ at $50 now at $3? Yeah, exactly, man. That's the thing with most of these shitcoins, you will be right about them going down over a long period of time. It just might take a long time to play out. Horse was born in, it is the year of the horse. Hopefully that's good for our bags. Yes, indeed. The year of the horse. The year of the bag. Why can't we have the year of the bags? The year of the Bitcoin. Yes, that would also be good as well. Speaking of, let's see what Bitcoin's doing over here. What are you doing, Bitcoin? Yeah, still looking like wants to come. This thing really looks like wants to come down here. Shit, man, it's just as simple as trend right now. Just follow the fucking downtrend. The trend is your friend, and the trend is down. It's fucking down, man. It's fucking down. You want to look at IWM? Sure. I think small caps were looking, last time I looked at them, they were okay. Yeah, I'd still be bullish on these. The junk is indeed rallying last, but I think it's got, another 3 to 6 months at least. Quarterly RSI is still conducive to this really breaking out. I think that this quarterly RSI gets at least to, 75, maybe even back up to like the previous high at 80, 85, somewhere around there. I wouldn't be really anticipating a high here just yet. But yeah, the shitcoins usually rally last, and this is the shitcoin at the church market. So Vilusuave says, check MicroStrategy. Sure, man. Let's check it out. Just strategy, I suppose. It's in a weird place for me here because when you're dancing around the 200 simple like this on the weekly and also the monthly 55 EMA, it's like, I really don't want to be looking for a breakdown on the first pass. Yes, it's already, traded decently below there, to be fair. But when we if we're going to look in terms of closures, it hasn't deviated that much yet. I'm a lot more inclined to say it's going to try for a bounce from here. Am I wrong on this? Maybe, but yeah, you're just hitting too many of these major moving averages. Like it's hard not to think that this thing's going to try for a bounce in the next couple months, like a bigger bounce. But in the short term, does it maybe make a new low first? I don't know. Actually, I think it has a little bit of a shot here. You got a higher low on the daily potentially that can close back above last week's high at 140-ish, let's say. Okay, give it a chance to bounce. Probably got a nice bounce up to 170, maybe even $200. So yeah. Horse sounds like a bag holder just saying, no, don't say that, Jeff B. Don't say that, man. I don't like the sounds of that. Where are you at with your Bitcoin options bets? My bets? Well, my short $100,000 call strike already expired, so I took full profit on that. And then the short $95,000 call strike, that's going to be in full profit as well. And I don't really have anything to do. I'm still waiting on taking any further positions. This is the one that's still open, the $95,000 short call strike for end of February. Maximum profit, I would imagine, is probably going to be exactly that because I don't really see Bitcoin going back above even $80,000 before that time personally. But yeah, as far as that goes, I'm not really looking at any of the positions right now. If Bitcoin does come back down to these lows, somewhere around $60,000, depending upon the reaction, I very well may do a short put spread, but I don't want to do it right here. The premiums are not good enough right here. I need to see this thing around about $62,000 before I even consider doing that. So yeah. And it's very possible that I just don't even do it at all. Like I need to see the response that I'm looking for, and it absolutely is not going to be right here. So yeah, anyways, MU long-term. Oh, you like these Micron ones. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's check it out. Whoop, wrong one. My apologies. Here we go. Yeah, still okay. Yeah, I look at this as still a consolidation at a high level. Yes, you do have a lower high right here, but you don't have lower lows or nothing like that. I have no reason to be bearish on it as long as you're above, let's call it like 350, just make it a nice round even number. I kind of have the same inclination as the previous chart that you were looking at, in that I'm cautiously bullish here. I just don't think it has that much more to go on. I mean, shit, man, like how long can you expect monthly volatility to be at extremes without having like a very big consolidation? I don't think it goes on that much longer. Maybe another new high at some point in February, but come March or April, I'd probably be looking for this thing to have a nice reversal and, spend some time going sideways and down and finding a higher low much lower. But for right now, yeah, I'd still be cautiously optimistic. Obviously back above last Thursday's high, I'd be bullish for a breakout towards 500 plus. Or I guess 520, but like I said, I think you're in the final push here. I just don't think it's done just yet. So I give it a little bit of leeway here, but below 350, I would call a major high and get ready for a move down to like, I don't know, 280 or whatever. And let it, let it reconsolidate. But for right now, I would be leaning similar to the last one more push at least, then be on the defensive. So, kind of have to be ready to, at least in my opinion, you kind of have to be ready to be a seller relatively soon. Sir, has Lunar been done today? Well, it hasn't really moved today, so most people haven't really been asking about it, but still above my pivot of 15 bucks and 13 cents. So I'm still holding on to my position here, even though, not gonna lie, it does look like it wants to break down. So long term, I actually still like this. I just think that it might break down below 15 bucks and put in a higher low here at like 10, 11 bucks and then try the upside move. But yeah, my rule is from the position that I took before I took it is that I will hold long as you're above 15 bucks. If it closed below 15 bucks, okay, I capitulate, I take the loss, or actually I'll have a small gain, I guess. But I'd like to reposition lower, somewhere down around here. Potentially, I mean, then again, I don't know, do I even want to go back into this thing if it does fail here? Not anytime soon, but maybe further on down the road. Yeah, but for now, it's still above my pivot, so I'm still holding. I stick by my rules, obviously. But yeah, it's pretty close there. Thinking over the next, Ron Barca. Oh, what do you know? It's Ron Barca. Thinking over the next 3 to 4 months, we get into 70 to 85,000 max. Hey, Trump, when are you going to build that crypto reserve? Promises made. This is my father, everyone. He is a crazy liberal. He literally believes Trump is the devil incarnate. Fair enough. This is what happens when you blast your ears all day long with fucking CNN. I love my father. He's a great guy. Needs to get out of the crazy hole, though. It's like taking fucking crazy pills. Listen to that shit. Suzu says, Suzu, but not the Suzu that I think many people know. Hey, Crown, TNK, TK tankers. Sure. TNK. Gotcha. Okay, I guess a new one for me. I think this one's actually quite good. I think that you will retest this high at 74, 75 bucks. To go in higher from there. I think it actually might go higher from there, man. This thing could be breaking out long term. This thing actually might be breaking out long term. You do have a higher low in here already. You got hidden bullish evidence on the last higher, on that last pullback, and you're already at those prior highs. I think that this thing actually has a pretty good shot to break through. If you're a pattern bro, you probably call this a cup and handle here, and there is an implied target to be made off of that as well. Let's see what it is. Yeah, maybe back up to like 98, 100 bucks. Obviously need to see it clear past that $74 high from May of a couple of years ago in 2024. But I do think that this thing has a legitimate chance to push through. This is actually pretty good. Might even go higher over time. I mean, shit, probably guns for this high over here. Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad. Anyways, what else we got? Lunar, what position size do you have? Why? Like, dude, I'm not going to tell you that. Like, how much money do exactly I have in that? Oh, like the percentage? Dude, it's less than 1%. It's a very small position. I don't put big amounts on singular names. I only put big amounts on ETFs. My purpose as a long-term investor isn't to like accrue as much value as possible. It's to protect purchasing power and grow that in a more steady manner. So I don't want to be taking like humongous risks on singular names. Whenever I put big money in, it's going to be into an ETF of some sort, not into a singular stock. Thoughts on Oracle? I don't know. We looked at it like somewhat recently. Curious to see what it looks like over here. Yeah. Okay. So I had it bouncing earlier, so I'm obviously going to be wrong on that one. You are coming off the 200 simple right here, so maybe this looks more like this. But I would be betting on a bounce from these regions here. Don't think that you're going to be heading much lower. Yeah, I think you're generally going to be playing between 140 on the low end, maybe as much as like 200 bucks on the upper end. Probably grind out the lows a couple more times and bounce. I don't think it's breaking down further from here without a prolonged sideways sort of behavior. One moment. Even Elsa called out Ron Barker. Of course, my dad has to comment an anti-Trump thing. It's just it's unbelievable. It's like you're having a conversation with someone about like fucking baseball, and then at like some point they're like, "But fuck Trump." It's like, oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know, I guess. It's very weird. Anyways, Ojuani Ashi says CCSI Stonk. Gotcha, man. CC. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name too poorly there. Consensus something rather. All right. God. Similar to the last one, but this one just doesn't have as good of a long-term history. Do you give it the benefit of the doubt or not? Look, if you're going to get rejected from any place, the weekly 200 simple is naturally going to be a really good place for that, of course. At the same time, I don't want to negate that there is 1, 2, 3 higher lows here, and you got the same highs, so maybe it pushes through overall. This is a difficult one. I don't like these kind of ones because I don't think it's as obvious. If you want to play this, that is obviously up to you. It's like, okay, so where do you manage? Like, I assume you're probably talking about taking a long here. I do think you will pull back a little bit after officially hitting the 200 simple at like 30 and a half bucks. Maybe you pull back down to like 28 ish or something like that. But where do you manage risk if this thing's actually going to turn around and reject here and be down only again? Because it has been down only pretty much over the long term. I guess the only place that really makes sense to me is like below $25. So you're basically going to risk what, like 20%? That's a rough position. That's a lot of risk percentage wise, in my opinion. It wouldn't be ideal for me. At the same time, do I think that this thing could pull through here? Yeah, I do think so. But that's your risk. So, I would only take that position if you're okay with that as your risk. Yeah. But, assuming that it does close back above that September 2025 high, I think that this thing could actually go for like a rip and rally to, 30, 37, $40, somewhere back around here. I guess there would be an implied move to be made off of this because it is effectively an ascending triangle, which is, I don't know if it's going to break like that. So let's see where that's pointed towards. Yeah, that would be about $40. So definitely possible. Just $25 is your risk. It's 20% from where you're at right now, basically. So it's kind of a lot in my opinion. It wouldn't be risk that I'm comfortable with. Maybe you are comfortable with it. I don't know. I can't make that decision for you though. What are your favorite ETFs? I prefer defense technologies. That's where I've studied the most and where I've made the biggest investments. So I like symbol ITA. XAR is pretty good as well. SHLD hasn't been performing as well as the other ones, but it is more future advanced technology. Future defense technology. So I do like that one. I do think that long term it will be a big winner. But yeah, since the April lows of last year. Oh no, it actually did do pretty well. I don't know. I just feel like it hasn't done as well as XAR. This one's been like slightly better, so that kind of bugs me. But those are my two big ones, my three big ones for defense technology. Other than that, I just like investing in technology mostly. So the major ETFs like triple Qs and QTOP, these sort of things. Again, I'm not trying to do anything super crazy with these. I'll also go with some of the ETFs for artificial intelligence like AIQ. I have a little bit of that right here. Chat for just chatbot ETF. DTCR is data center ETF and digital infrastructure. And then what else do I have? I think those are the major ones. Am I missing something? That's pretty much it. Yeah. And then of course I do hold VTI, which just overall stock market. I think you kind of have to, and then VUG for growth, but it is a relatively smaller position, I would say. Yeah. Okay. Crypto Chart says, how Smurfy is my shitcoin syrup? Is Smurfy good or bad? That's the real question, man. I don't know. It's bad. It must be bad. It must be bad. Yeah, man. I think this thing's entering into the downtrend of destiny here. It might have one more bounce off of like 24 cents. Maybe at best you get back to 29, maybe. But long term, I think that you're coming back down to, 18 cents, 15 cents, 10 cents, just down and down and down only, basically. Aria wants to look at oil. I can look at that. I don't think I have very good analysis on oil. Just shooting you straight. All right, let's go with Brent, I guess. It's just not where I've spent most of my time, and I just don't think I've had consistently good opinions on it. I mean, for this, it's obviously been down. Is it always going to go down? I don't know. I really don't know. We could look at symbol XOP, which is an oil and gas ETF. I guess I charted this one out as an inverted head and shoulders, and it's reversing right now. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not. I never feel confident about oil and gas, so I'll put it that way. So you probably don't want my opinion on it. At least I don't think that you should care about my opinion on that. But if I had to, I guess up from here, just again, that's like gun to the head type opinion right there. How's married life? Honestly, really not any different than normal. I mean, fucking me and Elsa have been together for like almost 9 years now, so it's like, what's changed? I mean, we wear rings on our fingers now, I guess. We've been living with each other for, I don't know, fucking 7-8 years now. So yeah, very little's changed, honestly. Yeah. Hey Crown, good to see you. Been watching your vids. Got to say hi more. All good, man. What's up, Zen Sniper? Zen Turtle. What's up, man? There we go. Fuck yeah. Yes, I know you, man. I know you. Good entry point for Nexo. Are you talking? Is this a fucking crypto shitcoin? Hopefully not. I do think, yeah, it probably is. It is. Of course it is. What's the best entry price for Nexo? I don't know. How much do you like losing money? I wouldn't touch this thing with a fucking 100 million foot pole. Like, what the fuck, man? What is a good entry on a down only asset? There is none. It's down only. It's down fucking only. Now, you're probably getting sucked into it right now because it's had a pretty epic bounce. And hey, like, it has had an epic bounce, you know, almost 50% right now. But do I think that this is going to be a reversal into an uptrend? Hell no. I would never buy this. I would never buy this. Whenever you're looking for bounces on shit like this, you're basically playing a game of chance where you might get one of these one-off rallies, but they all fail. So it can go down a lot more before it gets one of those one-off rallies. What is the point that I'm trying to get at? I wouldn't touch it personally. I think there's much easier things to grab onto if you want a higher probability trade, but yeah, I get it. You know, there's going to be big returns, blah, 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 blah. Just, I personally would never, ever touch something like that, man. Do you think SpaceX IPO will be a good investment? Depends what price it comes out at. Yeah, it depends what price it comes out at. I really don't know. I've had a chance to actually invest in it. I am on the secondary markets and whatnot, or the private markets, but it's actually kind of like hard to buy. It's not something that I'm going to be looking at immediately. You're catching a falling knife basically. But hey, it is rally right now. It probably does rally more. It's probably going to rally up to like $1 or close to it, something like that. But overall, do I expect it to truly reverse here? No, just because it's never really had a reversal. It only knows how to go down. Yeah, that is indeed a falling knife. Bryce says thoughts on Circle. Can look at it. I still think that this thing has more down to go. You know, you've had a nice bounce here thus far, but I think it's just another lower high, man. Implied target for this breakdown is about $37, somewhere around there. You know, like I said, I do want to accumulate this long term, but I don't want to accumulate it until I see it put in what I think is going to be a major low and then go sideways for quite some time. So, I mean, it might be that I don't even put money into this for like years. It's very possible. But long term, it does make a lot of sense to me as an investment, as does Gemini Exchange. But both of these want to go down more, man. Both of these are just absolutely terrible here. I mean, for fuck's sake, like that is truly the chart of a real shitcoin right there. So, yeah. All right, what else we got here? Maybe a few more, then we'll call it a day. Hey, what's up, Sam Fragosi? Can we do some Forex action? Aussie dollary dues, the dollary dues. Yes, indeed. AUD, USD. Let's check it out. Oops. Maybe let's go. I think that you'll probably extend this rally a little bit more and officially test about the 55 EMA on the quarterly. I don't know exactly what time frame you're on, but I do think that the rally overall will continue up somewhere around here, 72 and 35 or whatever that number is. I think you at least get around there. Is it going to reject around there? That would be the place I'd be looking for. So yeah, ultimately, I do think it's likely to put in another lower high. I just think that it might spike a little bit higher than where it's at right now and then reject rather than just reject from here. But yeah, don't really have much to say about it other than that. Yeah, small spike higher, maybe another couple cents, and then probably comes down. If not, just comes down from here, I guess. I don't know. Let's look at a yearly. What does this look like? Yeah, pretty bad. It probably rallies a little bit more, then I'd be a little bit afraid of it after that. Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. But I don't know. I feel like there should be something a little bit more obvious on this thing. Yeah, most of the higher time frames, like the 6 month, the quarterly, the monthly, are all at a major area of interest. So yeah, I would be on the defensive lookout for a high between here and like maybe 2 to 3 cents higher, something like that, man. Cloudflare. We can look at Cloudflare, but it'd be helpful if you just gave me the straight up ticker because I don't know it off the top of my head. Okay, apparently it's net. Short term probably continues on the rally a little bit more. You know, maybe back up to like 215 or so. Something like that. Monthly looks to me like it's putting in a higher low here. So I'm bullish basically long term as long as you're above this month's low at 160. I don't know if I don't think it's going to be like fucking busting through, you know, 220, 230 this month. I think it's going to be sideways and probably up from here. But yeah, overall, okay. At least I think so. Where would I get bearish on this thing? I would say below the February lows at 160. Below there, I guess I would get bearish on it for big moves down to 130 or maybe 120, something like that. But for right now, I'd give it a chance to put in a higher low here. I mean, you are at a technical area that would make a lot of sense for that. So I think you kind of got, or at least I have to go with that personally. Yeah. Hey, all good, Mr. Escobar. All good, man. Thankful for your TA. I sold some Bitcoin at $117,000 to pay off student loans and credit card debt. Fucking yes, man. Fucking yes. I love that, man. I love that. Getting out of debt is the best thing that you can do for yourself. I know financial nerds and financial wizards like to pretend that having, you can have good debt and bad debt. And yeah, that is true. But at the same time, when you got student loan debt, when you got debt like that, just fucking dump it as soon as possible, man. It will make you feel significantly better. How do I know? Because I used to be in debt myself, and it truly feels, or at least I felt like there was an extra weight on me every day. And so paying that off, even in some cases to like my own detriment, I don't know, it just made me feel a lot better. Just made me feel a lot better. And even now, when I bought a house, I did take a mortgage initially, but I just paid that off as soon as I could. Just because, I don't know, man, just for me, having debt, it's like having a fucking dark cloud hanging over you at all times of the day. I really don't like it. Really don't like it. Rather be hated, says USAR. All right. This is US rare earth. I don't know when I charted this one. I generally still think the same thing right here. I think that you're coming down a little bit more. I do think it's going to be good long term. I just think next move is down. Or hold on, you might already have your downside move here. Well, when I go to the monthly, you might already have seen it. Either way, I actually do like it long term. The question is, does it put in a low here and go sideways and up, or does it go a little bit lower towards 15 and a half, and then go sideways and up? I don't know. But I do think that it's something like this. I do think overall it's long-term bullish. I think that is generally good. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to say about it. There's not a ton of history. I'd be looking for sideways and up. Maybe that includes a short-term downside move to like 15 or 16 bucks, something like that. Owning your house outright is a great feeling. Yeah, indeed. Then you only have to deal with the fucking water damage. Dan Robertson says, I'm paying off the last of my student loans today. Fuck yeah, man. Congratulations. I'm sure that's got to feel amazing, man. Like seriously, that is cool as fuck, man. Cool as fuck. We need to celebrate repaying debt and being a functioning society and shit like that. That's awesome, man. Happy for you. And I'm sure shit, you don't need me to be happy for you. You probably know yourself. Like, feels fucking good when you get that off your books, of course. Bill Norblatt says, so uncommon, they don't even have the language for it in the paperwork. Everything says borrower, not owner. Yeah, it is pretty crazy, man. It is pretty crazy. I felt great, like I was free, says Mr. Escobar. Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. That's what I love to hear. I absolutely love to hear that, man. CopX, is this Copper's? This is Copper Miners ETF. Funnily enough, Copper Miners looking a lot better than the golds and the silvers of the world. This one I wouldn't call a top just yet. It objectively still has higher lows. And I mean, 81 bucks is kind of the line in the sand for this thing. As long as you're above 81, I personally would have to be bullish on it. Yeah. I guess I'll leave it right there, but losing 81 bucks. Okay. Then I flip around. It is weird to see this thing continue to be okay while gold and silver less so, but we shall see. David Polano says, hey Crown, can we please look at UI? Sure. Yeah, we can try that. I think holy shit, I have one of their products that's really, really good. It's a really good router. They really do make a good product. I hope they have a good stock. They do have a good stock. Yeah, quite good here. I think in the short term, you might experience a bit of a pullback, but overall, whether it moves the upside from here or whether it continues to range, I do think longer term, it is going to break out and make new highs. It is objectively good long term. So, generally when you retest a high like this or around it, I'd probably be looking for a pullback into a higher low and then, another try to the upside. I do think long term, like I said, it's a formality. This thing will try new highs, but yeah, I'd be bullish on this thing as long as you're above 680, especially. Yeah. That's what I'd be saying on this thing, man. Curious why you bought a diesel truck? Because it's environmentally friendly, sir. That's why. I get fucking, dude, I got like 38 miles per gallon the other day. It's crazy. It really is crazy. We did a very long drive and I was getting insane MPGs on that thing. I love it, man. I love that thing. All right. I think we're gonna call it a day there. We got a few errands to run today. A few more things to do with Elsa's sister, who's in town all the way from Finland. Gonna show her a good time. All right, last one from Cloud to Bussy. HSBA on London Shitcoin Exchange. Is this a top right here? Well, it's definitely a top, but is it like the top? Not super obvious just yet. Let's go down to a daily maybe. Where would I call a top? Okay, look, I do think next move is to the downside, whether you're bullish or bearish, but it might put in a higher load around like 1150. But I do think your next move is down, and I do think you probably get to that 1150 number, I don't know, in the next month or two. If you really start to close like the monthly below 1150, then I would get bearish on it. But until then, it is still objectively a pretty powerful uptrend. So I'd leave it right there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna end things right there. Like I said, pretty slow day today. I mean, no U.S. markets trading, so it is what it is. But thank you for joining in as always. Like I said, there is a sale going on right now. It's just a flash sale only for 24 hours. The code is, what's the code? PRES20. PRES20. The link and the information is in the description below. It's pretty simple as always. 20% off of any one of the programs or services in that teachable link. Applies to anything. You also get 7-day free trials if you just want to try it out, not put any money to risk. And yeah, we'll leave it right there. That sale will run for just one day. It'll be gone by tomorrow. So there it is, the flash sale. Other than that, wishing you the best as always. Been a nice, fun little Monday morning here. We'll be back on tomorrow with another regular video. And then I suspect Wednesday is when the fun starts yet again. Like I said, though, do be aware, the witches are coming once again. They're calling and they're coming, and they do have a bear moon actually starting on tonight's closure. So I suppose we shall see how that one works out for the next couple of weeks. But yes, I do have a downside bias here on Bitcoin. I do think Bitcoin is poised to retest around these lows, maybe a slight wick lower. Anyways, other than that, take care, much love.